Hi, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm the host of Best of Us in Retirement, and I'm also the host of Best of Us Investors. That channel's been around for a bit over a year, going on 2 years, I guess it is now, and I give advice to people on how to invest their money. Now, I recognize that most retirees have some money, or a lot have money set aside, and it's invested in whatever it's invested in. And they really don't pay attention to what's happening around them and thus how that might affect the assets that they hold. And I think that's a mistake. Now, in a lot of cases, it's you give it to a financial advisor and you allow them to manage your money. But I think it's important as a retiree and the owner of those assets to know the questions to ask, whether it's of yourself or it's of your financial advisor, so that you don't get caught up in surprises. You can imagine when I was a financial advisor in 2000, a lot of people were caught by surprise when the dot-com bubble burst. And they just, what the hell happened? They weren't paying attention. They weren't paying attention to the fact that the stock market was going crazy, that secretaries were becoming millionaires as they cashed in their stock options out in Silicon Valley. There were a lot of people who were caught off guard in 2009 when the subprime crisis occurred, when the banks were selling mortgage notes that weren't worth anything, and the banking system collapsed, and a lot of people were surprised by that, and their assets shrunk dramatically, and said, why didn't I see that? Why didn't my financial advisor see that? Because his job is to gather money. That's all it is. And then to diversify you so that if and when that happens, you don't get crucified because you aren't diversified. That basically tells you we're not paying attention of what parts of the market could possibly go bad and protecting you from it. We're just diversifying you so that whatever happens, you don't have runaway wins and you don't have runaway losses. That's what it's all about. I'm of the belief, though, if I will pay attention, I can foresee some of these things, and therefore I can ask my financial advisor some questions that would be pertinent to maybe lighten him up as to what maybe he should do to protect me in the coming events. And I was reminded of that as a result of what happened this past weekend, and that is we were reminded that this was the 20th anniversary of the invasion of our country by flying planes into our buildings. And you need to recognize that changed the world we live in. And as a result of that, some stocks went up in value and some went down in value. And that event in itself, actually, the market closed down for a week in a form of recovery. It opened, it crashed, it came right back. But what my point is, you need to be aware of what's happening around you and ask yourself the question, how is that going to affect the assets that I'm depending on to get me through my retirement? Let me give you an example. If you watched the evening news, I happen to watch Lester Holt, and for the last month, he has been telling me about our withdrawal from Afghanistan. And I have been asking myself, why? Why did they do it that way? Why are these senators coming on and just bad-mouthing Joe? It was Donald's idea to pull out of Afghanistan, and he was going to do it on May the 1st, but Joe pushed it back to the end of August. And why are they beating up on Joe so bad? And in my investigation, I realized that Joe is doing it because he has another war to fight. What war is that? Well, in my mind, it's the virus war. He has seen our economy devastated as a result of the coronavirus and now the Delta variant, and who knows what's going to come after that as we fill the college football stadiums and the pro football stadiums with people. Who knows what's going to happen? And he looked at that and he said, we have in our budget $115 billion a year dedicated for the support of Afghanistan for the foreseeable future. We have 17,000 contractors, and those are companies who are supplying us everything from rations to weapons to fight that war. And a big part of it, it's just cash going to the government and feeding their fraud. And Donald had basically, as I read it, said, the cash will keep coming. Don't worry about it. We're just getting our troops out, and we'll keep all these companies supplying you with everything. But Joe said, no, the cash, we're turning that faucet off. And that's why the president and the cabinet left the country. That's why the soldiers put their guns down. If you're not paying us anymore to do this for you, we're out of here. So with that happening, we saw a tremendous change in what's happening in Afghanistan. And I think as a retiree, you need to be asking your financial advisor or yourself, how is this going to affect my assets? How is this going to affect the rest of my life? I believe, personally, it's going to put fear into the market, and there's going to be a pullback. So I'm acting accordingly. I'm not going to get into what I'm doing. If you want to know that, you go to Best of Us Investors. What I'm here for today is to say, pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on in the world you live in. The biggest event that has happened in your life, I don't care how old you are, I'm 77, so I'm older than you. The biggest event that has happened in my life that is affecting the world's economy is the coronavirus. The world has woken up and said, this can never happen again. We've got a broken healthcare system, that a virus from a bat in Wuhan, China, can bring the whole world's economy to a shutdown. We need to know when the next virus is here so we can shut that city down so this never happens again. Well, money has to go to that. Money has to be spent to make sure that never happens again. Where is Joe going to get the money? The Congress is basically saying, we're not going to give you the $3 trillion you want to correct our supply chain, to correct the problems we have in our country, Joe. So Joe said, just like you would say to Martha or to James, where can we cut back on our spending so we can take care of this problem? What would you do? You would go to your checkbook. You would say, well, do we need to do this? Do we need to do that? And what if you saw a budget item for the amount of $115 billion a year for the foreseeable future that you could cut off, that you could just turn that faucet and say, no, that money won't go there anymore? Well, that's what you do. And that's what Joe did. And that's going to have a major effect on your retirement savings. You need to figure out what you're going to do about it. That's just good sense. If there's a fire coming your way, you need to decide what you're going to do. We watch the people who see the hurricanes coming. They have decisions to make. They see an event. It's coming their way in the form of a storm. They have to act accordingly. That's what you have to do as a retiree. You need to pay attention to what's happening around you and then make good decisions. To sit and do nothing Think about that. What if you lived in Louisiana and you saw that hurricane coming and you just sat there and said, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'll leave that to somebody else. Let them, I have a financial advisor. Let him take care of that. No, he doesn't know. Call him up. Call him up today. What is going to be the effect of our withdrawal from Afghanistan on my stock portfolio? Ask him that question and then bite your tongue, because the next one who speaks is going to declare whether they know what the hell's going on or they don't. You've worked hard for this money. You've sacrificed for this money. Don't forget about it. Don't leave it to somebody else to get you out of the way of the hurricane. Don't sit there and say, well, they'll send a bus to pick me up if it's really bad. No, you've got to act on your behalf. You've got to be your advocate. If you have parents who have assets, you need to share this video with them. You need to take care of yourself. Whether it's a hurricane, it's a fire, or it's the stock market, you need to be paying attention. Okay, I had to get that off my chest because I think too many of us just don't pay attention. I go out with other couples and I start talking like this, and Nita starts hitting me in the knee. You ever get that? Shut up. They don't want to hear it. Okay, they don't want to hear it, but they need to, Nita. They don't want to hear it. Okay, so that's my take on the world situation today, and I hope you learn from this, and I hope you find value in this, and if you do, share it with those people that you love, and let them know that I'm here to help you have a better retirement. I'm here to share my knowledge and my experience, and I hope you would reciprocate by doing the same. And you can do that by commenting, by giving me a thumbs up, and then if you want more information like this, to subscribe. I enjoy this. This is my life's work, as long as I've got. All right, I'll talk to you again soon.